The time has finally come.
I'm sure people have been dying to hear this one.
I hope they're not literally. That would be very
Well,
sad.
I would hope not because good Lord, but figuratively dying to hear this one.
It's time to talk about one of the more prominent games of 2020
Hmm.
on this here very podcast.
Hmm.
A certain remake
Yep.
ish.
Ish. I would call it a reimagining.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Language Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Al, and Ladyem.
Hello.
This is episode 220.
Well.
Wow. And, well, this game became a PS Plus game earlier this month, and we were like, well, no better time than the present to play this game. Because you would have been waiting around
it's
for it.
free.
You would have been waiting around for it to go on sale at least cheap enough to you'd eventually play it because you were like, yeah, I'll just do it, whatever.
Yeah, and then I was gonna just share play it so that you could also experience
Mhm.
it. I was
Well,
gonna take one for the team, and
it's
then we
free,
both
so
took it for the team.
we both took it for the team. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake
Hmm.
about a year after the fact it came out. So
Well, you know what? It was free.
Al,
Yes.
I'm going to make a rare correction for our podcast.
Okay.
I was wrong about this game.
Were you?
I think this game's all right.
I think there are all right parts about it. Um, and there are definitely parts that I was like, okay, yeah, that I like this. I like this. But I there's still parts of it that I'm just like, oh no, that's a disaster. Why are you doing this?
To be fair, like there are definitely parts of this game I really really liked. There are parts that I'm just like and then there's parts that I'm just like you could have done better on that. And also like yeah, I mean that's kind of to be expected. But I think the hindsight of playing this like a year after the fact that's came out, we've heard all of the hoopla about it.
Yeah, we both had the ending spoiled for us.
So like we knew going in what this basically was going to be. So I think that kind of helped temper expectations, or at least come into like with the expectation of like this isn't Final Fantasy VII
Right.
beat for beat. This is a new version of it, a new imagining of it,
Yeah.
like you said. So I think that really helped with like the mindset coming into this, because if we had played this at launch, I think it would have been worse because we would have been expecting something else than what this really is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that kind of, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like, I think a lot of that kind of comes with the fact that they call this Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they, in all honesty, they really shouldn't have. Like, I get why you would, because obviously it's a great marketing term
Yes.
to push forward what a new version of Final Fantasy VII, but like, this isn't really a remake.
No, it's not what this is.
In the classical term of what a remake usually is,
Mhm.
which is just like, you know, you are recreating the story from scratch and putting it out there. This is, I think, like you said, a reimagining. It's something different. And I think at times it does some very interesting things with the idea of like, what exactly is Final Fantasy VII?
Mhm.
What is the expectations for people who enjoy Final Fantasy VII? What do Final Fantasy VII fans think of Final Fantasy VII?
Mhm.
And like, I think those are questions that I think this game asks and like tries to answer in very sometimes interesting and different ways than what I would have expected. And like, it's questions that I figured like they wouldn't really address if this was technically just a Final Fantasy VII Remake. It would just be, hey, it's Final Fantasy VII again.
Mhm.
But I think like considering there's just so much hoopla around Final Fantasy VII ever since it came out in what 1997.
Yep.
That's 23 years of just expectations and people building this game up in their heads for decades at this point.
Mhm.
And I think one of the interesting things that Square kind of does with this is it really with your expectations in some ways,
Yeah.
in ways that I think is smart, because creating a remake in the traditional sense, like I said, is just like, you know, you're retelling the story in just like a different way with either like new actors, or it's just like a new vision of what you could bring to the story. Whereas I think with this, like, considering this story has so much just like heavy weight on it because of like what people want from it,
Mm-hmm.
like if I'm Square going into this like that, I think that's a great idea of just to be like, okay, let's just with them because they're going to expect something like this. But at the same time, we can just like twist and turn them in ways that they're not going to expect and make it so like they're going to come into this as like a new experience instead of just it's Final Fantasy VII again.
Yeah, and I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's some really good ideas here, and I also think that some of the execution is just butts, like absolute garbage.
But
Butts. Like there's just a lot of it that not a lot. There's several bits of this that was just like, really, we're doing that right now? Come on. Like it just felt very hokey at times.
I think that's fair. Like there are definitely parts like of this game that I feel like long for the sake of being long is a definite criticism of this game.
Yes. Oh my God, there's so much padding.
And I think
Ugh.
at times it works because I think they flesh out some stuff that really is just not available in the original game
Mhm.
due to just various kinds of constructs and everything and constraints. Whereas there are also times where they try and kind of expand upon stuff that like it, you didn't really need to do that.
So give me an example of where you think the padding works.
Like I think the early bits of the game, maybe like the first
Yes.
half,
Yeah.
where like you get a lot of character development, you get character building, you get a lot of just like feeling like of the like the Sector 7 slums. Like you get like a real like feeling of like this is what this place is and everything. You get a good understanding of like who each character is and all that sort of stuff. The way they flesh out Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, I think is really good.
I agree.
I think a lot of like is like that first half of the game they do really well with in terms of like expanding upon the fiction of Final Fantasy VII. Where I think it kind of starts to fall off is the Shinra part.
Yeah, I mean like that climbing of the rubble part and then having to go through like the Shinra Tower, like oh my God, I was so done by that point. I'm like, guys,
There was
please
like
stop.
there was a few times where I was like, oh, this is probably the last chapter of the game, and then like 3 chapters later, I was like, oh, this is actually the last chapter of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Like having to do that climbing section and then having to do like all of the stuff in the Shinra Tower, that like some of it was okay, but for the most part it was just like, you guys are just trying to pad this to make it a little bit longer because you didn't have enough to work with, because
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
trying to keep it within Midgar and that's it.
yeah, and I think that's kind of like a blessing and a curse that they're having to work with here, where like they're trying to expand upon this early part of the original game
Mhm.
in a way that they never really could with like the PlayStation and just like all the other side stuff that they had. But at the same time, doing that means like you're going to kind of like expand upon sections that really like they don't need that. Like they're kind of fine the way they are.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that was kind of frustrating for me is that there are actually some like kind of neat puzzles that happen in the Shinra Tower in the original. And like all that's gone in favor of like, hey, let's go through a bunch of lab rooms.
Yeah.
Ooh. And like the museum part of it was sort of interesting, except for the fact that like I couldn't just go through it. It's like, well, let me lock you in this room while this robot lady talks to you about what's going on. All right, cool, you can go on. I'm like,
I did want to ask you, as a former museum curator,
mhm.
how was the Shinra Museum?
Man, okay, so I will
I literally went through that section and I was like, I want to know what Al thinks of this.
I fully admit that I like engaged with all of the museumy bits that I could.
Mm-hmm.
One, you initially walk into the museum and like you're given this introduction, cool, whatever. I'm going in here. You see the like golden President Shinra, which was like, whoa. But then like once you start getting into the sections with like actual content, like one of the first things you do is like, oh hey, I'm gonna go talk to this little holographic Scarlet, and it's like, oh, this part's broken. I'm like, what? What do you mean this part's broken? You're gonna really start this museum with, oh, this part's broken? Come on. Like at least put a sign on here or something. Like why? And
That's
um
capitalism for you.
it is. Um And like the weird bits of like talking to the leaders of the different departments of Shinra, like that was super uncomfortable and bizarre. Um, and the thing that doesn't make a lot of sense to me about this entire like museum setting, and yes, I'm going on this museum theory, deal with me, um, is that it's supposed to be looking at the different sections of Shinra and like what they do. And yet, like everything that's really on display has to do with the military side of it. And I'm like, what about like Reeves' section where he talks about like development of the city? Like, you don't have anything on display for him. You just have him standing there telling you about it. Meanwhile, you have like 15 Shinra uniforms. So that was really frustrating. And then like you've got you move in.
That's fast vision for you.
Yeah. You move in through the like guided tour section, and she gives you like, hey, wasn't that great? And again, you get stuck in the room. There's also in the original they had the full like Midgar scale model. And like that was part of a puzzle in the original. So I was kind of like bummed when I got to it. It's like, oh, there you are. I don't get to do anything with you. Which is another thing, is that it's just given with zero context in this museum. It's like, here's a model of our city. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing with it? There's nothing else in this room besides this model of the city.
Look at this cool model. Okay, cool. Next.
Yeah. And then like you have the like really weird like propaganda video that you had in the like planetarium area. That was very bizarre, and also like kind of frustrating to me gameplay wise, because we get like 2 mentions of the ancients before that, and it's like, here's this info dump. Woo! But yeah, Shinra needs to hire a curator. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think they're gonna have a little trouble with that going forward.
Yeah, probably.
I think before we're going any further, let's talk about just the weird development history of this game, because
okay,
people have been wanting a Final Fantasy VII Remake since like the early 2000s, so we kind of have to go through these starts and stops of will they, won't they, what are they gonna do, who knows type deal.
Yeah, and it's part of their fault because they kept doing things with like tech demos.
Yeah.
Which, whoops. But anyway, continue.
This is from Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
You may have heard of it. So in the early 2000s, Square announced a remake for PlayStation 2 alongside Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX. But nothing further was ever heard of with the project. It was abandoned because of the increased challenge of developing on new hardware and would have necessitated cutting content. The staff were preoccupied with developing Final Fantasy XIII and its sequels, and Remake would have been an equally large or larger project, hard to undertake at the same time. Once the 13 series ended, the team was free to pursue other projects. Kitase claims that since Final Fantasy XIII, he had been asked multiple times about developing this game, probably a lot more than just multiple.
Probably.
Co-director Naoki Hamaguchi was originally just a fan of the game, so he was glad about his inclusion into the core development team. Good for you.
Aww.
Demand for a remake grew following a PlayStation 3 tech demo at the 2005 E3, showcasing the opening of Final Fantasy VII with Square's new Crystal Tools engine. I remember that one very vividly, and then people would be like, oh, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake! And they're like, no, this is just us showing off what we could do with the PS3.
Yep.
Cool your jets.
That.
Cool your jets.
Like I said, part of this was their own fault for doing that. They're
Yes.
like, oh God, what have we done?
Further demand came during the game's impending 10th anniversary in 2007. On both occasions, Square denied that any remake was in development, for reasons including their focus on new games, the necessity to cut elements to make a remake manageable, the difficulty of developing for modern hardware, and the amount of development time it would require. This doesn't go into it, but
about that.
yeah, but one of the other big kind of teases that they did was like, was this in 2013 or 2014 at the December Sony event, when they brought on stage one of the big heads of Square Enix. I can't remember if it was like the president or someone else, and he's like, all right guys, we're bringing it to PS4, Final Fantasy VII. Everyone's like, oh no, what? And they're like, the port from the PC, and everyone's like, oh
yep, I remember that.
That was just very funny.
Oh man, big troll right there.
That was yes. Like you had to have known.
You had to have known.
But regardless, the remake project began when Final Fantasy producer Shinji Hashimoto broached the subject to Kitase, Nojima, and Nomura. All three were reaching a stage of life that they defined as that age.
What does that mean?
All felt that if they waited much longer, they might not be alive to or would be too old to develop a remake, and passing the project on to a new generation did not feel right. That's a problem.
That's hilarious.
Another reason for developing the remake was that Square Enix was creating a growing library of PlayStation 4 titles, and the team hoped to increase the console's popularity. Nomura was appointed as director, much to his own surprise, when it was decided to create the remake, but he was busy with the making of the video game Kingdom Hearts 3 at the time. As you do.
You know about that.
Let's see what else. So let's talk about when this eventually decided to pop up.
Okay.
Rumors of a Final Fantasy VII Remake appeared in 2014, but it wasn't until the 2015 E3 during the Sony press conference that it was announced, receiving a standing ovation, because that was when they still had fans in attendance for press conferences.
Yeah.
The 2015 E3 press conference, I think, is like still very wild as well, because that was like they announced that. That was the Shenmue 3 announcement, and then that was the first time they showed off Last Guardian.
All right.
Since like 10 years prior, basically. So yeah, that was a very wild time.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't really go into this, but like there was the point in time when like CyberConnect was making this game.
Yeah.
When it was originally announced, and then at some point they were like, nah, get out of here. We're breaking
Like,
in Square Enix proper.
This isn't working. We gotta redo this.
We gotta change things up. So they brought back in Square people, and then eventually it came out in last year, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real thing that exists now. Still weird to think about.
I mean, partially because like it's already been announced that there's going to be like an episodic type scenario.
Yes.
And so this is technically episode 1. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know what's gonna happen from here.
Apparently,
Yuffie.
Yeah. So we were talking about this earlier, or like off air, when we were talking about why they replaced everyone from the English cast and kept the Japanese cast.
Mm-hmm.
So originally they were going to just bring over the original voice actors from Advent Children,
Mm-hmm.
and just have all of them reprise their roles, and then they recast everyone. According to Kitase, he said that choosing a new generation of voices for the characters was part of the game's rebirth as remake.
Except for they didn't in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, the English side only gets the rebirth.
Weird.
I mean, this whole game's weird.
Okay, yes.
The fact that it exists is weird.
Yes. Yes, not wrong.
Right, I forgot about this as well, that like some parts of the world didn't get physical copies until like much after the release because of COVID.
Yep. Yeah, there was a huge like hoopla with the release because of COVID.
Right.
It kind of led to a mess.
Yeah, and then as they announced on the latest State of Play, we talked about this a little bit last week. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is the PS5 version that they're putting out. It's got that Yuffie DLC, which I think that makes a little bit more sense now, having played that, of like why that's going to exist because of where this game ends.
I still don't know what they're doing with it though.
I mean, that's fair, but like, I'm a little less confused by it than I was last week, let's say.
I am not.
Yeah, this is a weird game.
It is a very, very weird game. And I've mentioned this before. I mentioned it when we were playing the demo, and I know I've told you several times. I hate the combat in this game. I absolutely hate it.
I didn't hate it as much as I did from the demo. I think I just kind of like grew to be like, it's whatever, who cares? It is not great combat by any stretch of the imagination. I still think it's just like kind of average and mediocre. I think one of the bad things about the combat is that they placed all of like your party info in the lower right hand corner like it was a Japanese RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And like that just does not work when you're playing an action game. Because like I'm not, if I'm playing an action game, I'm not going to draw my attention to the lower right hand corner to check how like much health I have left.
Yeah.
So like I felt like that was a weird disconnect that I don't think really worked all that well. Here's a weird thing that I think you're going to be kind of surprised about.
Okay.
That I felt about that eventually wrapped my head around the combat.
Mm-hmm.
The boss fight, like this is more particular for the boss fights, but like the boss fights remind me of Yakuza.
What?
Yeah, it's okay. So bear with me here.
Okay.
Yakuza boss fights. You've seen them now.
You've
seen
them.
A few games worth of them now.
Yep.
You know, they have varying layers or sections to their boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Where you'll like take them down to a specific health point, they'll do a cutscene, and then you begin again, and then there may be another one in between there.
Yeah, there's like phases to them.
Yes, the Final Fantasy VII Remake bosses all have like that similar style of phasing.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, this is very reminiscent to like Yakuza in a weird way. That I was like, and also like for some reason like just the combat itself kind of put me in that same groove as like playing a Yakuza game. Which is I know it sounds just incredibly strange. Like I think the combat systems themselves are not comparable because they're very different to each other. But like for whatever reason, just like I would get into like the same groove that I would feel when I'm playing like Yakuza, like when I'm feeling like real good about it. It's very weird. Like I don't like I'm not gonna say like hey the combat's good, but like it just gave me that kind of same feeling. And like once like I wrapped my head around like the boss fights kind of working that way, it made them make sense weirdly more than they had previously. I don't know. It sounds completely strange, but that's just how my brain wrapped around it all.
Yeah, I just absolutely hated everything combat related. I despised it.
I will say I think they do a good job of making every character that you get to play as feel very different from each other.
Everybody's unique, and I did like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can switch between them, so you're not stuck with Cloud all the time.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I could just like absolutely wreck house as Aerith,
Mm-hmm.
which is hilarious. I'm just in there with my little rod, like blip, 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 blip.
Yeah, Aerith's kind of a powerhouse in this game.
She is.
But yeah, I really enjoy
like Specker,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, right. But I enjoy how much like everyone kind of plays differently. So like Cloud's just like, you know, your hack and slash dude. You can just like sit there and just dump bolas into people as Barrett. Tifa, you can kind of play.
But you also have a melee Barrett too.
Yeah, I didn't play as much as melee Barrett because I didn't think that would be a good play style for how I want to play as Barrett.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a weird thing you can do.
But it is an option.
Yeah. Like Tifa, you can kind of like think of it more like a fighting game.
Yeah.
In a weird way. And then Aerith's just like pew 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 pew.
Yep.
So I thought that was real cool.
No, I agree with you that it was good that like everybody has a unique play style because you know, with the original Final Fantasy, you know, they have their unique limit breaks and then they have their like attacks and that kind of thing. But
you're playing a turn-based game, so like they're not really going to feel different from each other.
Right. And so they all feel completely different in how they play in this. Even if I didn't like doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair. Like, I would not say that the combat is one of the strong points of this game. It's very much one of the weaker points of this video game.
And the summoning is so weird.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense because, like, the way this game is, like, you can't just have them come onto the field and just do an attack. Like, it works better that to just kind of hang around and help you out.
Yeah. It was just very, very weird.
Yeah. And then you get to see realistic chocobos and Moogles and a realistic fat chocobo.
Nightmare fuel. The fat chocobo didn't bother me as much as chocobo and was it Moogle or Mog? I don't remember. But anyway, but chocobo and Moogle, like, oh my god, they're terrifying.
It's one of those things you first see and you're just like, what is this?
It's so upsetting. I'm like, what are you?
Who thought this was good?
Oh god, like fat chocobo's fine because he's fat and like you can't really tell anything about him.
He's
but
like, bleh.
He is really, really good for grinding out the like requests for Chadley or whatever his name was, the guy with the monocle.
Yeah.
You could just do so many of them with Fat Chocobo and his VR simulations. Thanks, Fat Chocobo, for sacrificing yourself multiple times for me.
You're the real MVP.
You are the real MVP. Help me get Leviathan so that Aerith could wreck house even further. But yeah, that realistic Moogle is like the most upsetting thing.
So
Blech.
weird.
But
So
yeah,
weird.
there is a lot that they did here that is good. Um,
Good.
and so I can't like go in and say like this is a bad game. I can't say that. I won't say that.
Did you enjoy it better than you thought you would?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Um, there are parts of it that I was just like, all right, all right, all right. I feel this. I like what they're doing here. And then they would just go and do something completely stupid. I'm like, guys, really? Why? And and I mean, it's the most Square Enix thing in the universe to do, to be like, hey, let's do something that's actually good. Let's do something that's exciting. Let's do something that's unique. Oh, let's also just make it completely dumb.
I mean that you have to going into a Square game for the most part that's what you're getting.
I know. It's just really frustrating because like
And also this isn't a Mora game, so you have to doubly know that going into it.
yeah, there's just so much that I could see that I'm like, all right, I could see like this actually being a very good game that does some like unique things with the Final Fantasy story, the Final Fantasy universe, that kind of like again plays with your expectations a little bit, that builds up these characters and this environment a bit more, that doesn't hide a certain character behind missable cutscenes.
Yes, like I think that's one of the most prominent things that this game does well.
Yeah,
Is that they actually address Zack. They
yes.
show him.
They show Zack. He talks.
And like
they
and
show...
they're not like, "Oh, you might hear about this character if you do this specific talking bit like you do in the original game." Like I think that is a very smart thing that they needed to do. Like
yes.
I think when we talked about this game, the original game, like that was one of our key complaints about Final Fantasy VII. It's like, this is very important,
to the canon.
story
like
stuff.
Zack is incredibly
yes,
important.
that they just hide away and or just expect you to kind of figure it out and find it eventually.
Like Zack could be argued that he's like one of the big triggers of everything that happens in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I think like considering all the stuff that they've done since then, like if they did the same thing that they did in the original game, like there's no way they could do that.
No, there's no way.
Like it would be impossible to tell the story without actually diving into that stuff.
Without addressing that Zack exists.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty blatantly. Which I was able to show you, like the one cutscene that they have of Zack is like shot for shot, word for word from Crisis Core. They just prettied it up. So that was a neat touch that they did that.
Yeah.
And so you also kind of like have it. There's, like I said, there's good stuff about this game, and I'm not gonna say that there's not.
I think one thing that we could agree on that is both good and bad. Parts of this game look absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. The first time I went to Aerith's house, I was like, "Oh my god, this is beautiful!" Like I went on her balcony. I was just like, bleh!
Yeah, like there are some of the parts of this game where you're just like, oh, man, they are getting a lot out of the PlayStation 4, and then other parts you're like, I understand how you're getting so much out of the PlayStation 4 now because oh god, this looks terrible.
It looks terrible. One thing that is kind of weird for me, and you got to hear this a lot. Like I think Cloud and Aerith are absolutely beautiful. They're beautiful, beautiful human beings. I don't like Cloud's eyelashes. They look very
now you're
weird.
just getting very hyper specific.
No. Like every time they like closed up on his eyes, it was like they just look like sticks coming out of his eyelids.
Look, that's the power of the PlayStation 4.
Well, I think it's because they were trying.
It's gonna be much better on PS5. Graphics.
I think they were trying to like make him like not look girly.
Graphics.
But I was just like, he just got weird eyeball sticks. It's very bizarre.
No, I could agree with you. Like I would definitely see that and be like, that looks weird in a way that I think is kind of off, but I'm just like, whatever.
But they did do things with Cloud that I thought were neat. Like he has this tick that he has in the game that like when he's feeling uncomfortable or like if somebody has like raised their voice at him or something, he'll like suck in his bottom lip. Like he's like trying to keep his mouth shut. And like that's a pretty cool thing that they actually like put in a tick for this character since he obviously has a ton of problems.
Yeah.
But like that's his way of dealing. Like the first time I ever really noticed it was with Elmira when she's like yelling at him in the like first floor of Aerith's house.
Mhm.
And he like sucks in his lip, and then like I noticed afterwards that he does it a few times when he's like upset or bothered by something. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Um, Rip the purple outfit though.
Yeah, I'm not surprised
They've
considering.
retconned it with Crisis Core.
Yeah, like no, they've never brought that back since the original game.
Yeah.
Like the amiibo has it, but like that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're never gonna see the purple outfit again, which is unfortunate because the
It,
purple outfit's it's so dumb and good.
it's so dumb and good. It's so dumb and good. Um,
I mean, at least like he does not look like he's like Advent Children Cloud in this game, which is positive.
a very, very big positive, honestly. And one thing that I will definitely say for this game is that it reiterated to me how bad they have done with Final Fantasy post Final Fantasy VII. Like Crisis Core is great, and I support Crisis Core, but like Advent Children, terrible. And this just reinforces how bad it is and how terrible the characterizations are.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. Like, one of the things that I mentioned to you when I was playing it, I was like, Barrett is a good dad. Like he definitely has flaws. You know, he's an eco terrorist, that's his job. And he's kind of a hothead, but he's definitely a good dad, and he absolutely cares about Marlene. And it's very, very obvious that he cares about Marlene. And so like it rubbed into me that I find it so frustrating that they're like, well, what if we just like make Barrett abandon Marlene in Advent Children so that like Cloud and Tifa have to raise her? I'm like,
That wouldn't happen.
he would never do that. He would absolutely never do that. Like, yes, he trusts those two. Like he definitely would like let them watch her if he needed, but he would never just leave her there and be like, all right, you guys raise her now. He would
Yeah, like
never do that.
there are just so many points in this game where you can be like, where you can see just like, yeah, he would not. That's just not how he would be.
Mm-mm.
That's not his character.
And I think that's one thing that this remake does really well is it fleshes out Barrett more than his like stereotype that he was in the original, and made me like him way more than I did originally.
Totally. Like there are definitely like a few chapters later on in the game, like in the latter two thirds or latter third, basically, of like where Barrett kind of like really takes kind of like the almost the leading role in terms of like getting all like the shine and characterization, like just some incredibly good stuff in that.
Incredible. And so like it was really redeeming for me because at the initial like at the outset of it, they really do lean heavily on that like angry black man situation. And obviously in original Final Fantasy VII, he was Mr. T. And so in this, for them to like really flesh him out and give him more of a character and to give him even like some nuance, wow, imagine that. Like it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's one thing that I will absolutely say for this game is that they made Barrett 10,000 times better, and also Barrett would never leave Marley.
Of course, like if you know if they're continuing on with this series, they have to keep that up. So hopefully that's something that they keep doing moving forward, and not just like, well, later you got your characterization this game. Good luck in the next couple.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that they actually were able to get like an African American voice actor to do his role. Because that was another thing that I was worried about. It's like, oh God, are they going to just hire a white guy to do his voice?
Yeah.
But they didn't, so that's good. And we were talking about the like some things look really good in this game, some things look really bad. His like arm hair looks really bad. Also, he only has arm hair below his elbow on like his arm that's not a gun arm.
Hey, some people just grow hair like that.
It's just odd. It's like he has like very thick black hair on the bottom part of his arm, and then like above his elbow, it's like, well, nothing there. But that's just again nitpicky. But yeah, Barrett, Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, like all of them got so much good characterization in this game that really makes you understand and like Avalanche a lot better than I think that we were allowed to in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate that. One thing I do want to talk about that frustrates me quite a bit is Tifa. Tifa has always kind of had her entire like plot and character revolve around Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and that's always been very, very frustrating for me. Um, and the one thing they're trying to play up in this is like, oh, Tifa is this independent lady and she's super strong and everybody acknowledges that she's strong. But like the whole time they're just like, well, what if Cloud has to save her every 2 seconds? And I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, I know that they're trying to like amp up that whole like, ooh, they're a relationship type thing, which like, there's still the love interest stuff.
Where's my Barrett love interest stuff?
Where is my Barrett love interest stuff? Which apparently he is one of the options you can get for that scene.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's good. Um, but I feel like they made it a lot worse that like her character really just revolves entirely around Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I also don't like her proportions. Like her having large boobs is fine. I don't care that she has large boobs, but she needs to have some place to keep internal organs. She has no torso whatsoever other than the boob. She keep her organs in her boobs. Like I know that they were trying to do like the ooh, Tifa's hot type thing. They did it in the original game, but like come on, guys. Really, it's 2020, 2021 now, but like make her look a little bit more realistic. It's not that hard. She can still have big boobs and
Yeah, give
also
her
like
blocky arms.
but she can have big boobs but like look like a person.
Yeah.
It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like her character completely revolving around Cloud is just ugh. What?
I feel like that.
Did you notice that?
No. I completely did. I was gonna say like I feel like I wasn't as surprised by that because like that's kind of just how the original game is. That's how Advent Children is.
Yes.
So like, I'm not surprised they kind of go in the same way. I'm disappointed that they don't really do much more, considering how much more like how much character development like you see Cloud get, you see Barrett get, you see Aerith have. Like everyone else seems to kind of get a whole lot of that, and then Tifa's kind of just like on the side, just like, hello, I'm here as well.
Yeah.
I will
like
punch stuff a little bit. Like maybe they're going to save that and do that later on. But
like,
I mean that's again that's speculation. But for
Yeah.
this game in particular, like yeah, she's kind of like the black sheep of this group where like just nothing really big happens for her. And she kind of just like has the same kind of character just straddling throughout the rest of the game.
like it's kind of bad that Wedge gets more character development than she does.
Look, Wedge deserves it.
Wedge is great.
Don't talk bad about my boy Wedge.
I'm just saying, like, Wedge had no characterization in the original game. Like, you knew nothing about Wedge, and now we know a lot about Wedge, and I love him, and I want to protect him with my life.
Yeah.
But like, he got way more development than Tifa did, and so it just really felt like, oh hey, we realize that she's a romantic interest option, and we're gonna. Oh, and also they like they kind of changed their background story of like what their friendship was like as a kid, and I was like, oh no.
For now,
yes, but
because you have to remember that a lot of this game, Cloud is an unreliable narrator.
He is, yes.
So the stuff you could be seeing, is it true or not? You have to, you have to come to your own conclusions on that. So
but
they
Cloud
could
remembered.
they could be retconning that. You're right,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, they could be just showing that for now, and then later on we'll come back around to it, and it'll be like, oh no, that's not really what happened.
Yeah, because like he remembered in the original, like her and her friends didn't care about him. They kind of bullied him. And
Well, I think there was also a scene later where like
there was one scene
where there's a flashback and she's kind of like dismissive to him and cold to
Yeah.
him. So I feel like that's kind of like showing like that these two scenes are playing against each other, and one of them is not true.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily going to write that off quite yet, but again, we don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
So like I think your fears are founded. Of like them kind of try, if they do try and retcon it, like that seems kind of dumb.
Well,
But we don't know
one
for
thing that
now.
always like really hurt me, I think, when I was playing Final Fantasy VII is that like it made me really sad that like her and her friends really made him feel excluded and made him feel like a black sheep and really kind of bullied him.
Mhm.
And then suddenly he says like, "Oh, well, I'll come save you if I need to." And she's like, "Oh, I'm in love with this guy now." And then like, "Oh, hey, romance, woo!" And like, no one ever addresses the fact that like they tormented him as a child.
Shh, you're not supposed to remember that.
Like you're nuts. And she never like apologizes for that. They like there
No,
should.
she gets to excuse all of that. She has hammer hammers.
That's true. Yeah, if you have boobs, you can get away with the thing
Big
apparently.
old,
But
big old TOBs. You're fine.
yeah, apparently it's just really frustrating. And like,
No, yeah, I completely
I
understand.
think as somebody who was bullied,
Yeah.
like the idea of me falling in love with somebody who bullied me, I'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, they love interest stuff. That's what.
But
They
I
do.
think even though like you say, like they try and play up Tifa being a love interest to Cloud, like they way more go into the Cloud era stuff in this game than I was really anticipating.
Yep.
They lead heavy into that, which like I'm totally fine with.
Totally.
But I
fine.
was like, they are really like pushing this hard.
Um, one thing that I do find interesting when I was watching the credits because I just beat it like a few hours ago. Um, and they do like cutscenes throughout the game of
Yeah.
like this is stuff that happened, and the scene with Aerith, when she's at Shinra, like of the three that you can get, Barrett, Tifa, and Aerith, they
Wait,
put hers,
which scene are you talking about?
the one outside her house, like late at night.
Oh, those are different. You get different choices for that?
Yeah.
I thought it was just you get Arrow no matter what, because I feel like that
No.
narratively makes the most sense.
No, you can, depending on how you've treated people, you get either Tifa, Barrett, or Aerith, and Aerith's is the one that's in the credits. So it was like, okay,
I mean
so
that's the one that
they
makes the
intended.
most like canonical sense.
It absolutely does, yes.
Like the others, I would be like, yeah, sure, but like that one felt like it was like the most like this is the story, so I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a scene, sure.
No, it's one of the ones that's like romance dependent type thing of like if you lean heavily towards Tifa, then it's Tifa that shows up. If you lean heavily towards Aerith, then Aerith shows up, and if you lean
How do
heavily
you
towards
lean heavily
neither,
towards Barrett?
Barrett
okay.
shows up.
I kind of want to see the Barrett one.
I watched him on YouTube, and Barrett's is good. I mean,
I bet,
like,
yeah.
not like a comedic thing, and Tifa and Clouds is very awkward.
Again,
just,
not
like,
surprising.
right, like she just like starts crying on him, and he's just like holding his arms down at one point.
What do I do here? I don't know what to do. Oh god.
And then eventually, like, he does hug her, but he hugs her too tight and hurts her with his bracer. And I'm like,
my dude, you
what
have
is...
like nuts and bolts coming out of your arm. Like, what did you expect?
Right. I was like, what is happening right now? This is weird. But yeah, that's one of the like affection meter type things.
I would not have thought that, honestly.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But I really, really appreciated how they built up the Cloud and Aerith relationship, whether you like go romantic or not. Like the way that they build that up is very, very good.
They give them a significant chunk of time in this game just to like just being together and like riffing off each other and everything.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Like they make that scene very poignant, like when Cloud's in Aerith's house and like he has that flashback to his mom telling him like, "Oh, this is the kind of girl you'll want," and it's like very much just describing Aerith.
Yep. Yeah. Because she's a year older than him, and she specifically says like you need an older girl.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that's always been something that happened in the original too. But I did like that they're like, oh hey, here's this scene that's gonna happen right now, conveniently. Really, really funny. And I mean, there are going to be things that are retcon. Like one of the things that I mentioned to you is that Aerith already has her ribbon when she's a kid, and she got the ribbon from Zack in Crisis Core. So there's going to be stuff that's changed. And but when
I mean, like, would you necessarily need to have that scene?
What scene?
of Zach giving her the ribbon,
Oh,
and
no, no,
and
no.
not just like oh she has the ribbon just so you designates who she is as a
No,
kid.
no. I think
Yeah.
it's fine. And like it doesn't really bother me that much. But I all this is to say, a change that I think that they did very, very well is to give them more time together to
Mhm.
just hang out and get to know each other. And like the high five sequence is so good.
It's very good.
It's so good. And it really shows Cloud like opening up to her and figuring out like this is how I interact with you.
Mhm.
Um because like she goes to do the high fives, he's like,
What are you doing?
she tries to do it again. And then the next time
uh...
he tries to do it and she doesn't, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. We'll get it right next time." And then they finally connect.
It's real good.
It was real good. And so like there's several moments like that where like they're really able to like flesh that relationship out quite a bit more, and I appreciated that.
Here's a question that I have for you.
Okay.
Now, Aerith is not a character that's around through the entirety of the game.
Right.
Maybe half,
Mm-hmm.
for being generous. Would you, even with all that being said,
Mm-hmm.
would you still consider her a deuteragonist?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, full spoilers here. Like, Aerith knows what's going on.
Look, it's Final Fantasy VII. Everyone knows the spoiler of Final Fantasy VII.
Well, I just mean like Aerith knows what's going on in
Yeah.
this. And like at first she tries to keep it under wraps,
Mhm.
but by the end you really know like Aerith is in the know. She knows what's going on. So this is really just as much of her story as it is Cloud's.
Yeah, she's very much a driving force of like, I'm telling you what's going to happen. I am, leading things on at certain points in time and everything. So yeah, it was definitely, I think, like there was some point, maybe like 2/3 of the way through, I was like, she's really like protagonist level character in this game, way more than she was in the original.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that.
And I think that's good because like she is a great character, and like the way that they expand upon her and flesh her out is great. So like I think it's something that's like very deserving.
I completely agree. And one thing that I think is absolutely worth mentioning is that Aerith has kind of had a hit or miss like voice acting history.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the name of the person who voice acts her in this, but she's fantastic. She does a really,
What if
really
it
good
was
job.
what's her face?
Mina Savari?
No.
Mandy
The
Moore?
Yes, Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore was better than Mina Savari.
I just still think that's funny.
And then I forget who did her in Advent Children at Crisis Core, but like this lady, she just knocks it out of the park. She really is able to nail like the dual sides of Aerith, where she's got like the playfulness and goofiness, but then like when she has to be serious, she is very deadly serious.
Yeah.
Like she nails it. So good job, person. I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
Brianna White.
She did a really, really good job.
Yes.
Including the fact that like the part where Cloud is dancing and she's like in the audience, she goes, I'm like, oh my god, she is into it. It was fantastic. And I think that's something that's really cool about Aerith in this is that they kind of like just let her be a dork if she wants to be a dork.
Yeah, like I think that's good.
Yeah. There's a scene in Don Corneo's where Tiva's like, oh, Aerith, I don't know that you should come along. And Cloud says something to the effect of like, you're not going to convince her anyway. She's going to do it. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, you finally get me.
Yeah.
I was like, I like that. Which there's also the scene in Don Corneo's with Cloud. That line is like the best delivery. Nailed it. Moving on. Which we got different dresses for that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was just because we did how did you do on the rhythm game? That's I think the main thing I would assume.
I think I got all but 2 like perfects and then like 2 that were like the middle.
I
level?
had all but one perfect. So maybe it
Ah.
wasn't because we were very similar on that case. I don't know. Um,
Although I really hated that game. I really hated the rhythm game.
I thought it was fine, but like I'm also willing to give developers the benefit of the doubt if they're not like rhythm game developers to begin
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
because making a rhythm game is tough.
It is. I just didn't like how they're like, "Ooh, what's it gonna be?" Whoop.
Yeah.
That was weird. But the whole like Wall Market edition, like there was some good stuff there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really cool to like get to explore it more. They had the I was really upset at first because I was playing through. I'm like, oh no, they got rid of the shop that has the like turret gun in it. They got rid
Nope.
of it. And
It's
then I
there.
kept exploring and I was like, I found the turret
That was the
gun
first thing I
shop.
found.
Oh my god.
Because
I
you
love the
immediately go
turret
in and
gun
it's like
shop.
right to your right, and I went in and I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, whoa.
Because that's how you get I think it's like Tifa's ultimate weapon is there or something like that. But it I was so upset because I couldn't find it. I finally found it. Like, yay. And the hand massage scene was very awkward.
It knew what it was going for.
It knew what it was going for, yes.
It knew it was trying to be very innuendo-esque, and I was like, yeah.
There's a
Mhm.
part afterwards that I got the like expensive hand massage,
Same.
and
I
Cloud
had the
comes.
money for it.
Yeah, I had the money. I was like, whatever. Cloud comes wandering out, and
Well,
Eric. Well,
the thing is, like, you are controlling Aerith at the time once
yes,
the scene switches.
yes. So Cloud comes wandering out from getting the hand massage, and she's like, "Hey, are you okay?" But he like goes to put his hand against the wall and just completely whiffs it. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's a really good touch. Then he's just like, "All right, I'm gonna lean against the wall now." Oops.
Like his whole life is just like changed dramatically
Yep.
for him. He's like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
Um. So yeah, like I said, there are good moments. You got the Jessie kiss. I did not get the Jessie kiss. I was not good enough on the bike.
Yeah, the bike
Um.
sections are not. I was honestly kind of hoping they would just like, here's a cutscene. Let's just make this bike sequence a cutscene instead. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's prominent that when you finish the game and you can go back and do
It
chapter
lets you
select,
skip it.
it lets you skip the bike section. Like I think they kind of like no, yeah, the bike section has always been kind of in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it was not good. And then I threw that boss fight in at the end
Mhm.
one, and I'm like, oh god, this is terrible. Oh god, I hated that. But yeah, they do let you skip it. Um, where was I going with this?
I don't know. We're
Where
talking.
was it?
You
Oh,
said about the
you got the
bike, the
Jessie
kiss.
kiss. Um. Anyway, I guess since I can't remember, and we're on the topic, uh, Mullet Man on the motorcycle.
Man, what happened to him?
What the hell is the point of that guy?
'Cause he's cool.
Is he?
Yeah.
He has like the longest mullet, and it's just
That
like
guy is real cool.
doing all kinds of crazy tricks on his
Yeah.
motorcycle, just like showing off.
I mean,
And then
how else did
disappears.
Cloud do all those cool tricks on the motorcycle at the end of the game?
He learned. He learned.
But yeah, like he shows up as like your first like kind of big boss fight, and then is never seen again.
No, like he shows up for like 5 seconds when you're in the like Shinra area, and then he's like, "All right, bye," and then he's just gone. I'm like, what was the point of adding that guy in?
I hope he comes back and we get to fight alongside him because he's very cool and he has that very ridiculous mullet pompadour. I am all about that guy.
Like the only thing I could figure is that they wanted to add in somebody else who was a soldier.
Yeah, I guess. Or just
Um,
like give you something to do on this whole sequence because it's a new sequence entirely. I think
yeah, it was just
so.
weird. I mean, he just like showed up and then was gone. And then like another one that I brought up with you was Kiri. They pronounce her name weird.
Kyrie.
Kyrie.
You would look
um,
at it and be like, "This is pronounced Kyrie."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Or
it's
Kiri,
Kyrie.
like the song.
But like it's the Japanese pronunciation essentially of what they're going for. But yeah, she kind of just like shows up and is like, yeah, Avalanche sucks. Hey, I stole some stuff. You want to get it back for me so they don't kill me? Cool, thanks. And then it's just gone. Like her whole thing is to just be the big reveal that she's that old lady's granddaughter.
Yeah, that's all. And I'm like, why? Why? It's stupid.
There's a lot of new characters in this game. Some of them are going to hit, some of them are not.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like they play her up to be a big deal, and they play the mullet man.
Do they? Do they play her up to be a big deal? They really don't.
I mean, they give her a whole cutscene of her just like talking about Avalanche.
But that's basically it. Like she is like one of the lowest non-factors in this entire game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it like she got a very unique design? She got a cutscene, and she's like antagonizing our protagonist, and then she's just like, "Okay, bye." Like, what was the point of even having that cutscene?
To make Barrett mad.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Kyrie and Mullet Man are out like hanging out somewhere.
Get her away from Mullet Man. He's too cool for her.
Oh man. Oh, he's I don't even know his name.
He's like Roche.
Roche?
Hang on, I'm gonna look it up.
Oh my god.
Keep talking.
That man was just so bizarre, and I just can't figure out why he was there.
Because he's cool.
It just, you know what? I gotta give him some props though. Like that man knows how to work a motorcycle.
Roche, Roche.
Odd.
Two best new characters in this game: Roche, Johnny.
Johnny. Yes!
Which is just Yuri Lowenthal playing Yosuke.
Yeah, it is.
It's basically the same character.
Yeah,
except
like
except Johnny is just has no shirt on.
Yeah,
well, he has a jacket but no shirt.
An adult sleaze bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's Yosuke, and he's just like in love with Tifa.
And just always calls Cloud bro. And Cloud's like,
bro.
Stop calling me that. Bro, I know. Listen to this.
It's so funny. Every time Cloud's just like, don't call me that. Bro! What about this, though?
Cloud almost murdered that guy.
You almost murdered him?
Cloud almost murders him.
Oh, when?
At the very beginning, when you have to go save him. He almost literally kills him.
Yeah, he does almost cut his head off, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Tifa's like, hey, don't do this. And Cloud's like, okay, I guess.
I will say, Johnny is actually a character in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I remember about ancillary Midgar characters.
I mean, he's like a very minor character.
Yeah.
But
like I'm not surprised by that.
He is a character though in the original one. He's just better in this.
Right.
Which I guess one thing that I think is something that I do want to talk about. And it relates to Cloud trying to murder Johnny. At one point, like early on, Tifa mentions Cloud's eyes and is like scared of them. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
And so she like specifically mentions that she is scared of his eyes. And then Aerith later on is like, "Oh, your eyes. Cool." And so like it's an interesting dichotomy there of like Tifa is afraid of this like persona that he has created and is afraid of like this whole idea of him being soldier. And Aerith is just like, all right, whatever, bud. I don't care. Like, I know that you're a big softy under that. What up?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting like comparison to make there that like they both mention his eyes specifically and how they feel about it.
Yeah. Can I say one thing kind of tangentially to what you just said?
Yee?
I hate that they call people who are soldier now a soldier instead of just being like, oh, you're a soldier. They're like, oh, you're a soldier.
Yeah.
It sounds like I get it. I understand probably why they do it because it's probably just sounds grammatically more correct, but like it always just like tripped me up. I was like, wait, that's not no soldier's just like a branding name. That you don't have to be a soldier. It's just soldier. Stop saying that.
Um. Oh, I forgot to even mention Leslie. He looks like he's straight out of Final Fantasy 15.
Leslie's a fine character, I think.
He's fine. I don't
Yeah.
have any problems with him as a character,
But yes,
except for the fact that he looks straight out of Final Fantasy 15.
You see him the first time, I was like, who is this Final Fantasy 15 reject that they just threw in here?
Like the character himself, totally fine. I have
Yeah.
no problems. But the design, I was just like, well, that's doesn't fit at all in any of this.
Very weird. I was like,
what are you doing here, bud? But he is pretty good, and I also like that the necklace that he has is the design of Aerith's flower, and Tifa is like, oh yeah, this is like a reunion between lovers, and that's what Aerith says when she gives him the flower in the beginning, which I'm so mad I couldn't give that flower to Marlene.
I mean, it basically made its way to Marlene.
That's true.
She's the one who points it out in the bar.
I wanted to give it to her specifically.
Yeah. But Cloud's just a weirdo. It's just like, flower, here you go. Get it away off. Get it off me.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud's just definitely a weirdo. He's definitely more endearing in this than he was in the original. Even though he's got that hard ass like shell at first.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole him and Barrett kind of clashing at first, like it makes sense obviously narratively because like Barrett's not going to trust him because he's just some dude that just bring it in, and Cloud's just like, I'm a badass, I'm a former soldier man.
I'm here for the money and only
I'm here for the money.
But yeah, Jesse's over there like, oh my god, he's hot.
I want to get on them bones.
I would climb him like a tree.
She needs a tall glass of water.
She is thirsty. Big's like, cool it.
But like, yeah, they do give him a lot more characterization. Like, obviously through the original game, he gets that over the course of the game. This, I think, kind of like amplifies it because they kind of have to. Because if you were just like the stoic, just brooding, gonna say a few words every now and then character through the entirety of the game, it would not work.
It wouldn't. Like one of the best moments for me with Cloud is the kids at the Leaf House are at one point looking for like there's a King Toad thing that they want to get rid of for safety.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you know, my work doesn't come cheap. And then like he starts thinking about it. He's like, I'll do it for 3 gil. That's it.
Yeah.
I have a special running right now for killing King Toads. And I was like, that's a good. Like that was a
really good moment. Yeah.
Good moment. It made me very happy because I saw some like depth there. Like I said, there is good here. There really is.
We've spent an hour talking mostly about good things from this video game. Which I think way more than either of us would have expected we would be talking about with this video game.
Absolutely. Also, Jesse offered us pizza. Yeah. Also, she's probably going to offer us a little bit more than that. But, there were definitely things, though, about this that I did not like. We already talked about the padding. The padding was just not good.
I completely agree.
I also was very, very thrown off by how much Sephiroth shows up.
Which again, I think it makes sense just because if people want to see that Sephiroth man, Final Fantasy VII fans love them some Sephiroth.
Blech.
I know you are an exception to the rule, but
I am.
To be fair, I think they do a good job of actually holding off on you actually seeing him until the very end. Potentially, considering how the way this game is, potentially. Yeah. But like, I like the idea of like he just like this weird ghost that just shows up like, hey, what's up? And then like there was parts of me that was like, are they just going to hold off on just like having him show up at the end to kill President Shinra, which even he technically doesn't do.
Yeah.
And just like maybe does not even have him actually really show up in this game, which I think that would have been a very ballsy decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of just here's Sephiroth in a memory.
Like the whole thing with him like leading Cloud through the alleys, which we mentioned it, like it's very clear that that's like a PTSD flashback that Cloud's having because
100%.
The landscape is Nibelheim. It just is.
Like all of the Sephiroth stuff in this game 90% of it, like through the first 90% of this game, is just all just like weird. Is all just like Cloud having, you know, triggers like in his head, like of, oh god, something's happening. Here's Sephiroth. Oh no.
Yeah, like the black feather and the reactor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not there. That didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen. And like I get that they're trying to do the foil of like Aerith knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so and she obviously gets to know more and more of what's going on. Like she starts to figure out more of what she's seeing as the game goes along, in my opinion anyway.
I feel like they're kind of building up to like Cloud and Aerith are going to have the same ability of being able to see stuff in the future. Because Cloud clearly is getting
stuff.
He's getting some of it, but he's not. It's not very clear. It's not a clear picture. It's just like fragments. Whereas Aerith very clearly knows stuff.
Yeah, like, you know, with the scene outside her house, she says like, "You can't fall in love with me," and she's saying something like that very close after she is recreating physically with her body her death scene.
Yep.
And says something about like everybody dies like eventually anyway. So like she's trying to protect him from his feelings because she knows what's going to happen. And like we get flashes with him every once in a while of like him seeing her death scene.
Like
and him trying to figure it out.
There's very specifically scenes like later in the later part of the game where like the enemies are like showing you here's the future, and like one of the like there's a few of them that are specifically that scene. But there's also some in like the earlier parts of the game where like there was one where like I don't remember exactly what happens, but like I think it's him and Aerith are doing something, and then like it cuts to him getting like a flash of what's going to happen, and like you see like this tear fall down his eye, and he's just like, what?
Is it the part in the church where she's like, yeah, I've got this materia, it doesn't do anything, and he's like, well, you don't know how to use it, and she's like, I don't know that's it, and then like turns and he has like the flash. Is that the scene?
It might be later than that, but I don't remember specifically.
Because I remember that like when that happened, we were talking about it. Because that's a pretty early flash of like, hey, this girl's gonna die.
But again, I think it's a thing that you can do in this game specifically because everyone knows that that's going to happen.
Right.
Everyone knows
that. Now we don't know.
I'm not necessarily falling into that camp quite yet, but everyone knows the spoiler of Final Fantasy VII. So like you could play into expectations of that and be like teasing that out in a way that if you were just doing a regular remake, you would never do that.
Right. I really wish they had done more with like Cloud having these like PTSD triggers and flashbacks. I really wish they had done more with it. That's just like, oh, I have a headache. Oh no. And then everybody like nobody really addresses it ever.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they're just waiting on for him to eventually explain it, or it's also predicating on like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, hey, here's a mystery for you. Because like they don't reveal that until like what, like 2/3 into the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So like it's a long time before they actually tell you kind of like, hey, here's what Cloud's been dealing with.
It's like near the end of Disc 2, and Disc 3 is just the final dungeon.
Yeah. So I think like, but I think they kind of like they address it. I think more than they do in the original game here.
Well, he wasn't getting any of the like.
Right, he wasn't getting like those, but like they really kind of like drive home the fact, hey, something's weird about him.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. But again, I think it's another thing where like, you know, you can do stuff with people's knowledge of what Final Fantasy VII is. So, like you can have all these things like pop up and be like, hey, if you know what this is, but maybe you over here, you don't know what this is. So here's something interesting for you to think about what's going on here. And then maybe we'll just do something weird with it. Who knows? I did jazz hands with that. It was very weird. Don't ask me why I did that.
You said you're not in the camp, so you think that they're gonna continue the way that they would.
So I guess here's a little thing. Let's talk about the game. What happens at the end of this game?
Actually, before we get to that, I do want to say that that's another thing that drives me completely bonkers about this game is the overuse of those whisper guys.
I think they're overused at the end, because like there's a big part in the like middle chunk of this game where they just don't show up, and I was like, are they gonna show back up again? Like they don't. I think the last like they show up right before you leave the Sector 7 slums, where they attack Seventh Heaven and everything. And then, like, after that, they're gone until, like, the graveyard, the train graveyard.
Yeah, like
Like, there's a lot of the game that they just don't show up again.
they help out like Aerith in the church.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, you're right.
And you know, obviously they have Aerith and Cloud like meet up, but like there's just such heavy-handedness with the use of these guys. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this feels like a like what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I'm blanking on the term.
Booty butt cheeks.
That is not what I was saying.
While you think about it, I'll just say, like, it's
MacGuffins, like
Yeah,
repeated
yeah.
MacGuffins.
I think it is an interesting narrative choice because, again, like I've been saying, it plays into the fact that people know what this game is, specifically the Midgard part. I think that's the part a lot of people know how this part of the game works. But also, it's just like, here's this like weird entity that is like trying to push the narrative in the right direction, and all these characters are fighting against it in weird ways. Like it's an interesting idea. I don't think they executed on it as well as they could have, because they use it too much. They overuse it.
Yeah, it's
Like,
way overused. And
Like,
like,
I
the
think
whole
the
idea of like revivals and stuff. I'm like, what is happening?
Like, I think the idea of, like, you know, Barrett gets shanked by Sephiroth and at the end of the game is like, you're like, what? And then like the spooky ghosts are like, God, I can't believe he did it. Oh, we gotta heal him. We gotta bring him back. Oh boy, this is bad. All right, you're good. See ya. Bye. Like, I think you could do interesting things like that, but like, if you're just specifically how overtly they do it at the end, where it's just like smashing you over the head with they're trying to push you towards the original plot of Final Fantasy VII. Like, it just gets overdone. But I think if you had done it at like very smaller intervals, or just like made it more of a rare occurrence, it would have worked better.
Yeah, I mean, as it is, it just feels very heavy-handed, and I was just
Yeah.
like annoyed as by the end of it by these guys. It was like, oh my god, I get it. Please stop.
Spooky ghost.
And like you've got them like with Biggs and Jesse, and I'm like, well, were they trying to make them die, or were they trying to not make them die? Like, what?
I felt
what
like
are
the
they
wedge
trying to do?
one. The wedge one was them trying to be like, you are not supposed to be here. Get the hell out of here. You were supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
Like, they were making right of like, this character isn't supposed to be here. We got to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm. It was just very odd. I didn't get what they were going with in some instances. Like I said, I don't know if they were trying to make sure that Biggs and Jesse died, because obviously Biggs didn't.
Well,
well,
we'll get there.
what do you mean we'll get there?
Well, I guess, okay, so you had did you say everything you want to say before we dive into like the very end?
I mean, I just think it's annoying. Those things are super annoying.
It's fair.
Heavy-handed. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. So the end of the game, where you meet up with Sephiroth does a portal, and Aerith does a second portal, and then you fight this big thing, and supposedly you are breaking the chains of the spooky ghosts into an alternate timeline of Final Fantasy VII, where you see Biggs and Jesse wake up and not dying and all that sort of stuff.
Wait,
Zack
did we see Jesse not die?
Jesse wakes up in that scene with Biggs, right?
I didn't see Jesse. I only saw Biggs.
I thought Biggs and Jesse were both there. Maybe I'm wrong. Regardless.
The only thing that we might think that Jesse was there is that there was a glove with like a metal piece on it on the
Yeah,
desk.
I think that might have just been it. But I would assume they're probably going to go with the idea that Biggs, Jesse, and Wedge survive. Because it wouldn't make sense just to bring one of them back.
Right.
Specifically with how much characterization you've put into them.
Right.
But yeah, like, very clearly we are in an alternate timeline.
Yes. And one thing that that I mentioned to you is that like the dog mascot is a different breed at one point when we get Zack in the ending.
Yeah. Here is my theory of what's going to happen, and whether it's the next game or in a third game. I don't think they would drag this out to a third game, because that would just be ridiculous at this point. Not necessarily like the entire story, but like this portion that I'm talking about. We are going to go through the alternate timeline of Final Fantasy VII. and see
Okay.
just it's going to get very weird, and we're going to see new things in general. At some point, Aerith is going to make the call that they have to go back to the original timeline. Because that's the way it has to go, and she's going to have to sacrifice herself at some point. Aerith is 100% dying in this game. They're not retconning that. I am like convinced after playing this game, she is 1000% dying again.
I'm
So
not.
That's my theory, is that like you're going to go through this alternate timeline for a while, and then eventually she's going to come to the realization that they have to go back because of something that's happening in this world, whether it's just like things are going too well and like benefiting them, or something's happening and you have to go back to the original timeline to eventually fight Sephiroth. And she's going to realize that, and realize also that it comes with her death, and she's going to make that sacrifice. Because I thought like originally when she was like talking about, oh, we're going to do this thing, like she was very much going forward with like, yeah, we're going to push forward for this mission to fight Sephiroth, and I'm going to die, but I'm not telling you that. But it was just like, oh, we're going to go in this portal thing.
Yeah, and she says something specific, like we're gonna change entirely by doing this, like as people. I'm not convinced that is what's gonna happen.
I am convinced.
I think that this is like their opportunity, because like they're bringing Zack back, and
for now they're bringing Zack back into an alternate reality.
Yeah, so that's the thing that's very weird about this, is that like there's obviously two things happening here, because Zack comes back, Zack survives the last dance somehow, and then there's Cloud that he's bringing back to Midgar, and like they walk by Cloud and Aerith, so like obviously they're not in the same timeline, because otherwise,
or they were just like showing these things happened in the same spot but at different points in time. I thought that was more of how I was interpreting that scene. Is that these are two things that happen at different points in time, but they happen at the same spot, so let's show them happening at the same time. It doesn't work, obviously, because it's very weird. But that was kind of my thought on it.
Okay, so my thought was that, like...
Because I felt like they made it very clear that like the Zack stuff was happening at a different point in time than everything else that was currently taking place.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Zack's last stand happens before any of the events of Final Fantasy VII, because what happens is that Zack does the last stand, he dies, he gives the Buster Sword to Cloud and basically says, like, you're my legacy now. And Cloud had been listening to him say, like, we're going to go to Midgar, we're going to become mercenaries, like, that's just what we're going to do, we're going to get away from this whole soldier thing, like, it'll be fine. And so Cloud, in the original continuity, finally came out of the like stupor and was like, oh, well, I was headed to Midgar and I was going to be a merc and I was going to quit being a soldier. And like there's a lot of misconceptions about the whole thing with Zack, and that's a whole thing that bothers me like crazy. But like all he knew is that he had been hearing like that's what we're gonna do, and so he just like clung to that. And thus starting the whole events of Final Fantasy VII. So obviously, like, this is before anything happened in 7, because you can't have a days-long battle with Zack and him survive it and be like, all right, buddy, let's go. I just didn't... That was a very weird scene, and
totally,
to me, like, it played off as, like, and especially because of the dog difference. I was like, what are we doing here with this time?
I think more it was supposed to be like, here are these characters that are like important to the other characters, Cloud to Cloud, Zack to Aerith. So we got to show them paralleling each other or whatever. And also as a way to show like, hey, things are very much different now.
And like I said, there would be a paradox because there's two Clouds now.
But there's not two Clouds. There's just one Cloud, because that was in the past.
It was in the past, but like he's the Cloud that we
Look,
have now.
time travel is a hard concept. I am not expecting Tetsuya Nomura to really dive into the intricacies of time theory and time travel and timeline shenanigans. I mean, granted, he's not directing the next game, so
yeah.
who knows where they'll go? But yeah, like I could
Uh,
see as well, like going off of my theory that like Aerith finds Zack alive and it's just like something's not right here. Like, yay, I'm happy, but this isn't supposed to be happening. What? And maybe that's an impetus for her to go back to the original timeline. Spooky ghost.
she's like, oh man, this dude that I dated for a few days is back alive. Well, time to go kill myself. Like, what? That would be odd. And I mean, that's something that I'm really interested to see what they do. Like, what are they gonna do with Zack now that he's alive?
Whatever they want. They have, I mean, considering like basically what the end of this game sets up for the next, it's a blank slate.
It is.
You could do whatever the you want.
Yeah, because like they're not chasing after Sephiroth because that's what they were doing in the original continuity.
I mean, technically they are.
Well, I mean, like they're not physically chasing him.
Right.
Like, that's why they left Midgar in the first place, and why they go to Calm, and why they go to Judah, and all that is that they're following him.
And now they're just like going somewhere.
Yeah.
They don't really know.
But like, is Zack gonna join the team? Is Zack gonna be working somehow on the side? Like, what is Zack's role in this now? Is Zack gonna be the one that actually breaks Cloud, rather than like Tifa having to go in and like undo all the mess in his brain?
That's a good question.
Like, because Zack obviously knows the truth. Zack knows what happened. And so, like, if Cloud and Zack meet up with each other, Cloud's going to have a complete and utter breakdown. Like, he even, like, spazzed out when Aerith tried to say his name.
Yeah.
So, like, if they were to somehow meet, there is going to be a real big issue there.
Yeah, I think that is a very interesting idea.
And, like, I with Zack being the trigger for him, like figuring out who he really is. That'd be kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, what are you gonna do with Zack? Why is he back? What are we doing? And I mean, I guess the same could be said about like Biggs and Wedge and Jesse. Like, why are they back? What are they gonna do? And I wonder if there's gonna be like some kind of weird Avalanche Zack team up.
Yeah, like the door is open for any of this to happen, which is a very intriguing idea. And something you would never have thought about with a Final Fantasy VII Remake of like, hey, what are they going to do now with all these like weird things that could potentially happen? I will say, like, kind of tangentially off of this, like, I was surprised how weird this game is in terms of like how much they actually kept the weirdness of Final Fantasy VII in it, because I really thought they would go like, you know, with how realistic it was, they would kind of like cut a lot of that out. But like you fight Hell House, and that's weird.
Yep.
A lot of like the enemy design is still kind of weird. I have higher hopes, let's say, for Sephiroth throwing materia at Cloud.
Yay!
Because I mean, they very much show materia is a thing that people just kind of hold in their hands and stuff.
Yep.
I'm very much hoping that Sephiroth, we get to see a realistic Sephiroth beam Cloud with a piece of materia and just float off.
He floats at one point. Like, you see him like outside President Shitter's office with Genova, just like, like what is that?
I have renewed hopes for this. That is something I did not expect coming out of this game.
That's true. Something I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And I have an idea on why they did it. There is a like less than 30-second moment where you see Kaichi. Minus Moogle writing.
Right.
Do you think that was just like a nod of like, oh, look, Kaichi's here?
Yeah, I think that's just it.
Okay, because...
And like, I think it's again, well, I've been saying this a lot. It is one of those, you know, and if you don't, you're like, what the hell is that? So like if you know, like, hey, this is Rufus, or not Rufus, Reeve just being like, God, I couldn't do anything to save them.
And so that was what I was wondering, is that their way of showing that, like, you know, Reeve is obviously someone who cares a lot, because he's like, I don't want you to do this, and also here's the revitalization plan now that you've done this. So like, was that their nod of like Reeve grieving what happened by showing Kaichi, since he can't actually be out there physically?
I think that's 100%. And also, like, it gives you, if you know, it gives you the scene of like, oh, he already has control of it and all that sort of stuff.
Well, he's had control of robots since like before Crisis.
Right, but like also just like I think it's just one of those things like it's a nod, but also it shows you like he's in control of this thing in particular now. So like when it shows up later, it won't be as big of a surprise. But like you already kind of have to know that like this thing's in play, and also it's just it's a reference that people know. It's a nod, and you can be like, oh hey, that cool.
So like that was my big question is like, is it a way of like trying to humanize Reeve a bit?
I think that definitely is the case.
Because we don't get as much development on Reeve in the original one. We just don't.
No.
Actually, I think a lot of that could be said about all the Turks at this point, except for we don't get as much with Sung. And again, that annoys me that he is only supposed to be like 8 years older than Aerith, and he looked like he was already 30 when he went to see her when she was like 7.
Yeah, they didn't really care about that. They're just like, whatever.
No,
just use the same model. Who cares?
He's supposed to be like in his teens when he goes to see her and like trying to recruit.
Maybe
her.
he was just very tall. He has Kiryu syndrome. He just looks real old for how young he is.
Like I said, he either never ages or they just didn't care enough to make another model for him.
I'm gonna go with both.
Yeah, maybe that is the case. I was very happy though because Sung has beautiful hair, and I was not expecting that. It's wild to see him go from block form to like gorgeous. But
I mean, it's a lot for a lot of these characters. It's wild to see them go from blocky form to where they are now.
Yeah, and actually, one thing that was really neat for me, and this is going to be such a weird thing for me to say, I've consistently been trying to figure out if the things near Reno's eyes, if they were like weird hair bits or if they were tattoos, because they're the same color as his hair.
Yeah.
And the way that his hair is, it like hangs down a bit. And so in like Advent Children, things like that, I've always been trying to figure out like, is that his hair or is that a tattoo? It makes it very clear in this game it is a tattoo.
Yeah.
So that was good. And they did maintain a little bit of the Reno Rude relationship, and they maintained that Rude has a crush on Tifa, which again, like that is a nod to the original game that you would not know that in this version of it, but he like will not hurt her. I did think it was kind of an odd thing that they're like, oh, Rude feels bad about doing the thing and making all the people die, and Sung's like, well, you saved somebody else from feeling bad, isn't that cool? I'm like, what kind of logic is that? But we do see some good stuff happening. Good lord, with Reno at least, and his like his conscience about what he did, his part in that. Like even like at the time he's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This sucks. And then even afterwards, when Sung's like, yeah, save somebody else, and Reno's like, no, I still feel like that was still a bad thing to do. Which, speaking of, there's so much cussing in this game.
I mean, to be fair,
yeah,
there's technically a lot of cussing in original Final Fantasy VII. They just bleep it.
Except for it was only Barret and only Sid.
Yeah, but everyone just cusses now, and it's really good.
Everyone cusses now. Everyone. Like the line with Cloud and then bring it on. I was like, what are you doing? And like some of the times when he's doing his limit breaks, he's like, bring it.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing?
I am here to say that all Final Fantasy VII characters should have a cuss. I'm eagerly awaiting for Red 13 to learn his first cuss word.
I am also like.
I mean, he's already learned a few because he's hung around with Barret and Cloud, so he knows a few now. But I can't wait for him to say his first cuss.
Like Aerith, she says like or something, doesn't she?
I think she says more than that. I think she says at some point.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I don't know. I could be projecting here, but maybe I just really want Aerith to say. Let Aerith say.
Let Aerith say. But it's really gonna be weird, like. Sid's speech patterns, if Sid shows up even.
Yeah.
Like how they're gonna differentiate him.
He just says every 5 seconds.
Also space. Sorry, you're gonna have to block all that out.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, oh no.
But that's actually gonna keep up some of the humor of the
Yeah.
original. You have to do all of it but the and space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I feel better about this game than I did going in. I still don't love it. I still think that there's a lot of choices that they made. But I could definitely just hang out with Aerith forever and be happy.
True.
She's so cute and I love her.
I'm eager to see how they do, like, what they do with other parts of Final Fantasy VII. Like, you kind of see it, I think, at some point where, like, the Ancients place you eventually go to, like, they show a little bit of that. And I was like, that seems cool. I would walk around that in a nice high-res version. Like, I want to see the gold saucer. I want to see the place where Red 13's from.
Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah, I want to see Cosmo Canyon. I want to see the old guy on his ball floating around.
I'm interested in how they do Bugenhagen. Like, how are they going to do that?
Yeah, like I want to see a lot of the other stuff you get to do in Final Fantasy VII. Like, I want to see just.
You want to see Materia Bop.
I want to see Materia Bop. I want to see the Shinra parade.
Oh wow!
I was thinking of that. That was one of the things. Like, I want to see the Shinra parade.
Actually, that's interesting because, you know, one of the things in the Shinra parade is Cloud doing his victory pose, which they do the victory poses in the Coliseum, which is a good touch.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, Barrett's always just going da 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 da. It's a pretty good touch.
Yeah, there's even there's a side quest, I don't know if you did it, where, like, you have to play different music for the girl Betty who is in Sector 7. And, like, you play these different songs and eventually Barrett's like, no, you got to do this one. I was like, nice. Good job, Barrett.
Yep.
You like one thing and it's that. But I don't even remember what I was talking about before that because I got real excited about Barrett singing the victory theme. Oh, the poses.
Yes.
I did think that it was neat that they put the poses in the Coliseum because it doesn't make sense for them to do it like in the game, like when you're doing battles.
Mm-hmm.
So it does in the Coliseum, and they all follow their original victory pose.
Yeah.
So that's cute, but there is an animation for Cloud to do the victory pose, and that would be in.
They already got it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see how they do that because I think it would be very weird. Because like that part of the game is real weird just in general.
Yes. So
I just want to see how they would do it here.
How are they gonna have like Cloud jumping off of a dolphin to get up to the
right?
Like Final Fantasy VII is a weird game.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think this remake actually kind of preserves some of that weirdness in a way that I really wasn't expecting. Also, like there are various times where you can really see like them kind of like just do a realistic version of some of the weird PS1 architecture they had to do for certain areas, which I think is a really cool touch. Like the first time you go into Aerith's house, I'm just like, I've definitely been here before. Like this just feels like I've been like the PS1 version, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that there's a lot of like parts like that where I was like, that's really impressive that they're able to like hit this like nostalgia thing that I really wasn't expecting to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm real curious to see what they do with like the next game in this, where it's going to get weirder from here, obviously, because the story of Final Fantasy, like you said, just gets weirder as it goes on, and also just like how they do it. Like, are they going to like focus in on another specific section and just do that, or are we going to like start seeing less hyper specific parts of the game and more just like here's the rest of the game, but maybe a little bits and pieces here are fleshed out more than before? But also, we're in uncharted territory, so who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
Who knows what part they can do? They can do any part. They can just be like, here's the end of the game. Oh, it's a flashback. It's a dream. Oh, here's this other stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, they could
Here's
go
Final
straight to
Fantasy
evil.
VIII. Who knows? Here's Squall.
Yeah, Cloud says a lot of whatever in this. But yeah, they could straight go to like Nibelheim or whatever. They could do whatever they want. It's weird. Really, the only thing I'm asking is for them to just retcon everything about Advent Children. Please do that.
I can agree with that.
That's all I ask for. Barrett is a good dad. Don't make him into a bad dad just so you can ship things square. Terrible.
And also just give me more hip hop to Chocobo.
Oh god, that song's bad.
It's so bad, but I love it.
It's so bad.
It's so terrible. It's good. I mean, look, to be fair, it is the first song they give you as a collectible, so clearly it is the best.
Oh my god.
That's just facts.
I was just thinking, how are they gonna even like handle the entirety of Vincent as a character?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go back to sleep in my coffin now. Goodbye.
No. He's going to go back to sleep in his coffin, and the lid of the coffin is just going to fall down from the ceiling.
I mean, that's what it does.
Yeah.
It just when it lands. And he just like sits up like, why are you bothering me? Like that's
Yeah. Again,
wild.
like I said, I think a lot of people's like memories of Final Fantasy VII is the Midgar part.
Mm-hmm.
And just people kind of also forget that like gets weird in this game later on.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
I'm real curious to see how they will do some of this weird stuff, some of the even weirder stuff, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would play another one of these games.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe
too.
not at full price, maybe not at release, but I would play another one of these games, and that is something I did not expect to say coming out of this game.
No, I agree with you entirely. I would definitely play whatever comes next. Like I don't know if that. Well, the Yuffie one's PS5 exclusive, but
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade new. Hang on, here's my. I got it.
all right.
The sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, new Final Fantasy VII.
Good. Good.
Call me up, Square. You probably already have the name down. It's fine, but call me up.
And I mean, there were several moments where people said, let's mosey. So I am assuming we're going to eventually get that line again.
Straight, we better.
We better.
We better.
But yeah, I would definitely play another one. Like you said, I might not pay full price for it. And like maybe having everything spoiled made it a better experience for me.
Yeah, I think it gave us just like a different way to expect what is going to come out of this game. In a way, if we had played this at launch, we would not have the same way of thinking about it, and I think that would have hindered our enjoyment of this game. I think.
I think if I had played this at launch without any kind of spoilers, I would have just.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not completely happy with it because, but
Happier than you would have thought.
yeah, I mean, at least we killed those stupid Whisper guys, so like I don't have to deal with them anymore.
For now. I'll watch that Yuffie DLC on YouTube because I'm not going to spend $70 for this game again.
Yeah, no.
Because the PS Plus version does not upgrade, because of course not.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I since the timeline's all thrown off now, I don't know what to expect from the Yuffie thing because, like I said,
anything can happen.
Anything could happen. Yuffie was so. Who knows?
Did they mention in the showing of this, if like when this is supposed to take place? Like, is it concurrent with the events of the game as it's happening, or is it supposed to be after? Or
I couldn't figure it out, honestly.
Well, I mean, we were also watching that without the knowledge of having played the game. So, but I don't remember if they actually clarified where it's supposed to take place. But regardless, yeah, it's all open. The Final Fantasy VII Forbidden Door has been opened. And now Cloud has to, in new Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cloud has to come face to face with his deepest adversary. Final Fantasy VII fan fiction.
Oh boy.
He has to read 10,000 different stories of him and Sephiroth making out.
Oh no. Oh no. Cloud, who's gonna save you?
Aerith's just gonna kick the door down and be like, "What the dude? We gotta go back. We gotta go back. Back to the original time. I can't let you do this to yourself."
Oh man. Terrible. Terrible.
That's Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It's Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Sure is. What a weird game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really like the best way to describe it at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, either way, that's going to do it for this episode. And except now we're also in an alternate timeline, so who knows what's going to happen?
Whoa!
If you'd like more from us, go to seasonalcheckup.com or sac.cool. Find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Checkup and Jared Now Watch on there. And also find columns and reviews. You can find more from Anne Ladyem at AnneLadyem.com. She's got columns and reviews.
What?
You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com.
Bomb.
And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza. Get access to unedited versions of the podcast, bonus episodes, all sorts of fun stuff. Like if you're on the Patreon, you could have got this episode a week early. Spoilers.
Whoa.
Spoilers.
Whoa.
Next week, we'll be doing something. I believe next week we will be diving headfirst into March Madness because it's probably the best time to do it.
Yep. Absolutely the best time to do it.
March Madness. So we'll bust out the bracket for our annual tradition and find what's the winner.
Yeah.
So look forward to that next week.